Hey guys, Michael Griswold again. Reading this book called Happier. Actually read it a couple times. It's brilliant, by the way. And one of the quotes from the chapter entitled Happiness in Relationships is this: all who would win joy must share it. Happiness was born a twin. That's actually a quote by a fellow named Lord Byron, who was a poet back in the day. So we've been talking about how to restore relationships, how to get your relationships reunited, right? And the subject of today's video is, how do I let them know that I'm sorry? How do I let them know that I want to change? What I've found is, doing some research online to find out where you can get this information, is there's a lot of just recycled garbage about how to have thriving and enjoyable relationships. What I mean by that is, there's a lot of people saying the same stuff. And what we want to do here is not just have a book for you to read or something like that, but to actually give you real advice that you can put into practice today. That you can begin to think differently about your relationship and begin to make it what you want it to be. Because, as our boy Lord Byron said, if we want to be happy, we've got to share it. And the most intimate part of those relationships comes from a romantic one. So let's talk about this subject about how do I let them know that I'm sorry, that I want to change. You know, what I find about this is that there's so many people that when they break up, that they feel guilty and they feel desperate and they feel like, I've got to do something to fix it. Maybe you felt like that. Maybe you can relate, right? The fact is that we all do things that are crappy sometimes, don't we? I mean, your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever you've broken up with, they probably did some crappy things. You know, there's this illusion in relationships that somehow relationships need to be perfect. And it's just never the case. The fact is that the most harmonious and most thriving and life-giving relationships are the ones that are able to endure conflicts and be stronger for it. So really, this question that I hear a lot, people asking, I want to let them know that I'm sorry and that I'll change, I think it's a little bit misguided, really. And instead of addressing what's really important in the relationship, which is the free flow of communication and being able to talk about things that bother each other, there's this almost silver bullet kind of approach. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you do. This is kind of like one silver bullet that's going to solve all the problems. I'll just tell them that I'm sorry. I'll just tell them that I want to change. Well, it just doesn't work. And what happens instead is that you end up looking desperate. Now, I think we all would agree that when you're talking to someone who seems desperate, it's just not very attractive, is it? Because we think, subconsciously, you know, if there was more value, then they wouldn't be desperate. So let's take a different approach. Why don't we instead say, instead of saying, how do I let them know that I'm sorry, that I want to change, why don't we take a look at, how do I let them know that I understand the issues that we're having? See, I think that's a much better approach because it recognizes that both sides in any conflict have contributed to it. So the first step for you to do is to understand that it's not all your fault. You haven't caused this breakup by yourself. Now, there are some exceptions. Maybe you've gone out and cheated, or maybe you've gone out and lied, and even so, it takes both sides in order to work through it and in order to make the relationship, if it's worth it, stronger than before. So the tip here is, instead of asking, how can I let them know that I want to change? How can I let them know that I'm sorry? How can I let them know that I'll never do it again? Instead, backing up a few steps, and instead of trying to react to the situation, looking at the relationship as a whole and seeing, where do the problems lay in between in our relationship? if you can do that, if you can take a look at those issues and be able to address them, then your relationship is going to end up being a lot stronger, a lot more healthy, and, believe it or not, a lot more enjoyable. Because the fact is that couples who can fight the best and the most fairly, the couples that can fight well enough to work through it, are couples that also have better sex, they've got more memories, they have more fun. So, if this resonates with you, if you can understand, and if this kind of gets you where you get it, you can check out some of our other information on reunitedrelationships.com. And there's a whole host of videos that give free advice for you in whatever situation you're in. So, see you later.